Hello, everybody. Welcome along to the Football Martin channel. Thank you very much for joining us. This is a live show this evening, and I'm with a guest because I do a lot of content on my own, and it's actually quite nice to have somebody with me. So Adam Boyce is here to join me on the Football Martin channel. Adam's a massive Southampton fan. You would have seen him on my channel many a times this season. Adam, thanks for coming on, mate. Before we get started, I want to give a massive shout out because I have some birthday wishes I would like to wish. Rod Cheney is 80 years old today. Wow. Rod, you don't look 80 years old, my friend. Look far from it. When your daughter told me you're 80, I was like, wow. A very happy birthday. I hope you've had the most amazing day. You have an amazing family. So, yeah, thank you for tuning into the podcast. Thank you for tuning into the shows. And have a great birthday. Adam, welcome along to the show, my friend.
Thank you, Martin. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm in good form, mate. I'm in good form. I thought it was a nice opportunity to come and do something live because I haven't done a live show. Well, I did one at the start of the week, actually, but I've not done loads recently. But it's great to open it up at the back end of the show. So what we'll do is we'll let the fans come and have their say at the end. So we have some topics we're going to talk about tonight. The key talking points on today's show is going to be around Joe ARIBO. I want to talk about his time at the football club. Has he been a success? Has he not? It'd be good to get everyone's opinion on that in the comments as well. There's a lot of rumours that he will leave the football club at the end of this season. I want to talk about that. We're going to look back on Ivan Duric's presser, which took place today down at the Staplewood Training Complex. We will got the key takeaways from that. Sulemana is injured. There's also another injury concern that we will talk about. We'll also look ahead to Newcastle United at the weekend. Adam, let's start with Joe ARIBO. A man that we signed from Rangers. We were just talking about it off camera before we come on. I put a tweet out today and said I've been really disappointed with him, but maybe it's a little bit harsh. Maybe I've been a bit harsh on Joe ARIBO. I expected so much when he signed, and maybe I was expecting too much. Well, you said we spent 7 million, was it, on him?
Yeah, 7.1 back in 2022. Yeah.
So Ralph Hasenhüttl was the manager, and that was the season we got relegated. He looked good in pre-season, ARIBO, didn't he? That pre-season.
Yeah, I remember he scored that amazing goal against somebody. I can't remember who it was against now, but I thought that Ralph, being the manager at that time, Joe ARIBO is such a high-energy footballer. Well, he usually is anyway. And I thought that in that kind of high-intensity pressing system, he would have flourished under Ralph. But for one reason or another, whether it was chopping and changing positions, injuries, just not being played enough, that first season in particular, it never really kind of worked out for him. And I feel like that has kind of set his entire time at Southampton a bit off on the wrong foot, where I completely agree with you. I expected a lot when he was coming in because of what he'd done at Rangers in that Europa League final, especially. But it hasn't really worked out since then, really, has it?
Yeah, no, I expected a lot of him. I thought he was the sort of player we're going to buy, and he was going to be a £20 million player in 2 years' time. I just thought he was going to be one that we really develop. Picked up the number 7 shirt as well, and usually traditionally players that get the number 7 shirt. It's a big shirt to carry, really big shirt to carry. That first season on the Hasenhüttl was tough. Jones come in, then it was Sellers, and he didn't play loads of football. Last year he struggled to get into the side, didn't he? And until we come back from the African, just before the AFCON, he got in the side under Martin. But he looked like a player that was quite hungry last year. I thought he worked really hard because I felt he was quite lazy for long periods of time. Certainly in his first season, I thought, well, this bloke's really lazy. A bit of a flair player. And I thought we needed everyone grafting and digging in deep. When we were struggling that season, I thought, he's a little bit of a luxury player. But he proved last year that he's got a good engine on him. And when he's fit, he can work really, really hard. And he was an asset for long periods of time at the back end of last season, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was literally about to say that. Kind of when Stuart Armstrong went down towards the end of last season, I think a lot of Saints fans were kind of thinking, well, that's a huge blow to our promotion chances gone, because we know how great, how flary, how much of a luxury player Stuart Armstrong was, and certainly played as anyway. But no credit to Joe. He came into that midfield three with Smallbone and Downs and really kind of was the middleman, being able to come back. He's not a small guy, so he can help out a bit physically, defensively, but then also we know how much he likes to push forward. And so credit to him, back end of last season was probably the best run-off form he had in the team. And that's the part that I think a lot of fans would choose to remember when it comes to Joe ARIBO.
Yeah, I thought his best game last year was in I remember the moment when he scored the goal against, I think it was Birmingham away, 96th minute.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that. It was a brilliant, brilliant moment. That was.
unreal.
It was unreal.
Yeah,
And then playoff final, I thought he was good that day. He worked really, really, really hard. But he
yeah,
has a good game followed by a bad game. But he was good in the playoff final. He worked hard, so he's proved that he's got it in there. He this season he's been in the side a fair bit recently. I think maybe the injury to Downs has obviously given that opportunity to play more football. I thought he was good again, really, really good against Man United. They had a terrible first half against Forest, but they all did. But he was awful in the first half. But he's a much better second half with Leslie Ugochukwu playing alongside him. He needs a warrior next to him. I think he's the sort of player that can't play with the Downs. Not really, not at this level. Do you think he's a Premier League player, Joe ARIBO?
I'm going to say no. I don't think he is a Premier League footballer. I think give him play him in. I remember when he first joined, and someone asked him, "What's your favourite position?" And he said he likes to come in off the right. Basically, what Tyler Dibling does: come in off the right, come with the left. Great. We've never seen him play there, or if we have, maybe for 1 or 2 games, and he gets moved back into the position. I think in the Championship, if you get that Joe ARIBO, he's a good, solid player. But do I see that in the Premier League? Not necessarily. The goals aren't there. As you say, the inconsistencies, relying on a physical presence coming in next to him to really get the best out of him. So for that reason, as much as I like the guy, he's probably not a Premier League quality player.
Yeah, no, I think he's probably he's a steady Championship player. Let's be honest, he's probably a really steady Championship player. But just the Premier League's brutal, isn't it? It's such a tough league, as we found out this year, and you can't be half-hearted. I've said this a lot of times on a lot of content that I've made and a lot of shows I've been on. You can't go into games and be half-hearted, and some of our players have done that this season. He's maybe one of those at times, but I think there's probably worse players to be letting go. There's loads of fans in the comments giving their thoughts on Joe ARIBO. Mike's given his thoughts on ARIBO, and I totally agree with what Mike said there. ARIBO last 2 games has been good, depending on who he's in midfield with. I do agree on that. I think you're spot on, Mike. I feel the same. Troy's in. Hi, Troy. Hope you're doing well, my friend. All amazing in the Championship, just not Premiership. So echoing what Adam said there, I think you're absolutely right. He only plays 70 minutes. He has done that a lot this season. But yeah, no, a lot of people echoing what we're saying, that's for sure. We've got a neutral watching. Jake's in. Jake, thank you very much for tuning in to the channel this evening. As a neutral, I see Saints with multiple at least top flight quality midfielders. ARIBO, Fernandes, Downs, Ugochukwu. I don't think the poor performances in midfield should be lack of quality. Interesting comments. He thinks that we're probably maybe a bit better than what we have than what we're saying. Yeah, interesting comment, Jake. Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's a good takeaway as a neutral, that's for sure. Fernandes is definitely a Premier League midfielder. I think he'd stay and play in the Premier League, don't you?
It'd be very hard to keep hold of him. I think everybody's talking about Tyler Dibling's kind of taking the spotlight this season, and rightfully so. He's been unbelievable, but you can't sleep on what Fernandes has done, and because his stats don't jump out at you with goals and assists. It just makes everything look so good on the pitch. And if we keep him, wow. If we don't keep him, I'm not going to be surprised. He's going right to the top.
Yeah, no, I think he's going right to the top. The Tyler Dibling transfer speculation will rumble all January. It's I don't see him going in January, but he will go in the summer. There's no doubt. He's definitely going to go. There's no doubt about it. He's way too good for the Championship. For anyone thinking, he'd do him good for a year in the Championship, he's way too good for the Championship. I was on another show tonight, actually, that's out tomorrow, and we were talking about Dibling. He's been brilliant, but it looks like the injury, by the way, from the presser today, he could be back sooner, Adam, than we thought he was going to be, which is a massive plus for us, isn't it?
Yeah, massively. When he went down, I'll be honest with you, we already weren't scoring many goals anyway, but when he went down, just that creative flair in midfield, I mean, Juric has come in and kind of played him a bit like a false nine, a bit more narrow, which is interesting. But even then, he just every time he gets the ball, just picks it up, drives at players, maybe a bit selfish at times, but he's 18 years old. That's to be expected. We can't put all that pressure on him as fans, but it's great to know that hopefully it's not as bad as was first reported. And as you say, if by some miracle we do keep him and he does a year with us in the Championship, just to have him get as seasoned as much as he can now in the Premier League, so that when he does hopefully go down with us in the Championship, he'll just absolutely tear that league apart, or at the very least, just get more Premier League experience so that we can get a few extra million for him, I think.
Yeah, they're talking, there's a price tag of him of £55 million. But if they get £55 million for him, let's just hope and pray that they spend the money wisely, something that they've not done very well at. Is spending money is this football club in recent years. Press conference today took place down at the Staplewood training complex with Ivan Durick ahead of the game against Newcastle. Wasn't all positive though. The big blow is Kamaldeen Sulemana. He's injured. He definitely misses the weekend. He's got issues with his hamstrings, he said, and yeah, he's a player that plays with pace. So he's gonna get injuries to his hamstring, isn't he? Gutted, aren't you? Because he's almost become the first name on the team sheet, hasn't he? For me, he has been anyway.
Yes, certainly one of. But yeah, I think after how good he was in that United game, credit, because it's a very poor United team. But even so, I mean, he was running them ragged, for the entire game. Even when we capitulated, he was still, giving his all before he went off the pitch. And yeah, it's no surprise he's injured. I think also when you consider the fact that he's not played a lot this season, to then immediately come into this heavy metal system, as Juric likes to call it, pressing like an absolute beast for long periods of game, you're bound to pick up an injury. It's a bit like kind of what is going on at Spurs right now. The way they're playing results in their players getting injured, and it's the same with Kamaldeen, and it's certainly a huge loss because without him in the team, we lose all that intensity in the front going forward, in my opinion. Yeah,
he's one player that can hurt teams. And that kind of does worry me at the weekend with no Dibling, no Sulemana going into the game against Newcastle was how we hurt them in the final third. Who are the players that are going to really make a difference in the final third? When we reflect on the Forest game, Paul Onuachu, he was asked about him today in the press conference today, whether that had really given him a bit of belief. He really come on and occupied the two centre-backs, didn't he, Onuachu? Made a real difference. I thought he did anyway. Ivan Durick spoke about him a bit today. He likes him, and I don't think there's any doubt that he'll start the weekend against Newcastle. Cameron Archer got his opportunity at the weekend, and it was typical that they give him an opportunity in a game against two massive centre-backs. I thought Durick got it massively wrong, Boise, to be quite honest. I would have started with the big man because he's a unit, is Onuachu, and he's a handful. He occupies defenders. Tessam speaks about it on BBC Solent a lot. If you listen to Going Home with Adam and Joe, he always talks about how Onuachu occupies centre-backs. For you, Onuachu has to come in, doesn't he, at the weekend against Newcastle?
Yeah, I would, especially because he's just scored his first goal. So if there's going to be a time that he's the most confident he's been in the Saints shirt, it's going to be after last weekend. Do you know what I mean? So I would definitely. And Newcastle are a tough physical team. Even without like Sven Botman in that team, we've got Fabian Schär, Joe Linton, like Bruno G, some big physical tough players. And, Cameron Archer, with all due respect to the guy, he's not going to really give them any, he's not going to make them cower away. But Big Paul comes in and immediately that's somebody for them to look out for. And then you don't know what outlet that creates for, a winger who comes in. I'm not sure, but definitely start Paul, 100%.
Yeah, I'll start Paul. Archer got his opportunity at the weekend alongside Adam Armstrong. Armstrong started quite well, but faded in the game. I said that in my final word on Monday. Faded in the game, desperately bad. Be interested to see if he keeps his spot. Durick also mentioned in the presser today about the goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale. He's picked up an injury in training, so it looks like he could potentially miss the weekend. Yeah.
I mean, when it rains, it pours, with all these injuries right now. To me, Kamaldeen not being in the team, and this might be a hot take, but Kamaldeen not being in the team right now is probably more of a loss than Ramsdale because
I think you're right.
Because we're going to concede goals with Ramsdale in that team or not, because the defense in front of him, it chops and changes every week. It's not Premier League quality in my opinion. So having McCarthy, Lumley, throw Bazunu out there, we're going to concede goals. Let's be honest, but not having Kamaldeen's intensity up front massively limits us going forward in the final third. So obviously Ramsdale best goalkeeper at the club by a country mile, arguably one of the best players at the club. Big loss, but to me, there's bigger losses in this team right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Sulemana is a huge loss because he's the one bright spark. He was good when he came off the bench at Forest. Had a brilliant day at Forest, actually. I really enjoyed it as an away day. I know the first half was abysmal, but actually as on the ground to go to, I spoke about it a lot on the channel this week. I really enjoyed going to the Forest ground. It was brilliant, really good, great atmosphere. Real old school. They're doing things right there at the moment. There's so much to be admired about the way they play football. Love to see us do some of the basics that they do. They're big and strong at the back. They're organised. They get compact when the opposition have the ball. They're quick on the break, aren't they? But I think someone was in the chat a minute ago. I think his name was Jake, and he made a very, very good point. He was talking about leaders that play in midfield. The one thing that we don't have, we don't have it all through the side. And that's down to recruitment, is we don't have leaders. We don't have anywhere near enough, do we?
No, not even. I mean, Jack Stevens isn't a club captain. Jan Bednarek isn't a leader, a natural leader. Taylor Harwood-Bellis will be a very good leader in the Premier League one day. I just think he's still a bit too young at the moment, which, is not his fault. Flynn Downs, I think, has struggled to step up to Premier League. I think a lot of us fans really wanted to see him work out. But, and Adam Lallana's 36 years old. He's not going to be around playing every game. So we desperately lack leaders. And if you haven't got somebody leading the team out, it's those types of situations you find yourself in when you're 3-0 down and you need your leaders to rile up the lads. Come on, step up. We can do this. Like Font done, like Dean Hammond done for many years. And we've not had that really since Font, in my opinion. And when you haven't got a leader on the pitch, those heads that are dropped already are not going to get picked back up. And it's no surprise that, the mentality in this team just isn't there right now.
Yeah, Bednarek for me is not a captain. I watched him a lot the weekend in front of me. I was right to the left-hand side of the goal, certainly where we conceded all the goals in the first half. And he was throwing his arms around, blaming people, getting shitty with people. I didn't see enough leading, trying to rally people, organise, and that's what you want to see. You get sent back there as a leader. I'm not convinced about him as a leader, but that's just my personal opinion. You can get involved in the comments box below if you disagree with me. Somebody said in the chat a minute ago, I think it was David, mentioned about Adam Lallana, making captain. It's an interesting point, David. It sounds like, from what I'm hearing, and from what come out after the weekend, is that he didn't make the squad the weekend. He wasn't injured. So you question whether it may have been a falling out with the manager. It's just speculation at this stage, isn't it? But I agree about Lallana. I think he's a really important player to have. But something's going on there because he wasn't even on the bench. Ryan Fraser did make the bench, and he's been sort of absent for weeks and weeks and weeks. Bloated squad. I spoke about it on the transfer show yesterday. There's talk of outgoings. I think there's a 10:30 segment today going out. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any bits in that. Goes out on the club's official website tonight. So there's a 10:30 that he was probably asked about the potential outgoings. Charlie Taylor's been linked to leaving the football club this week. It's not worked out for him here. Talking of going whole, but he's open to other clubs by the looks of it. Didn't work out for him, did it, Boise? Charlie Taylor?
No, and I'm really surprised, especially when Russell was in charge, because this guy knows how to play possession-style football. Done it with Burnley last year.
Yeah.
Obviously went down with them, but lots of Burnley fans were really gutted to lose him. And, that's a weird one. Like, the fact that Russell Martin wasn't playing him when he was a player who was almost ready-made for your system, like, he's not really got a chance of playing now, does he? And when he does play, he's not playing in his favoured left-back position. He's being played, centre-back, very limited minutes, chopping and changing like the back five is at the moment. And it is a shame that it didn't work out, because I think, kind of going back to leaders just there, he's 30, 31, like, that's a good age. That's somebody who can just bring a bit of experience on the pitch, especially to Taylor and Nathan Wood at the back right now. So it's a real shame.
Yeah, we haven't had anyone really stake a claim at left back, have we? We've ended up with our best, our right back, one of our best players in the squad, playing at left back, haven't we? In Kyle Walker-Peters, and he's an outstanding right back on his day. I think he's ready for that fresh challenge. He looks like a player. I watched him the weekend, and he just looks like really down with it now. And I'm not surprised. It must be demoralising to be going through what we're going through right now. He's worth a lot. He'd get a good move. Whether he'd get one in January, I don't know. Would you let him go in January if they? Because he's out of contract at the end of the year, so you won't get a penny for him.
Yeah.
So he's going to go on a free. Would you do something now? Would you let him go now if a little offer come in for him? Because he's not going to get loads of money for him.
No, but you know what? I would let him go because I think the season's done. I think lots of fans are kind of in agreement that the chances of us surviving are very, very small now. We just want to see a bit of fight. So with that in mind, as sad as it would be, and I don't want to see him go because, he stayed with us last season when everybody thought he would be the first name off, I reckon. So never take that away from him. He's a borderline club legend. So it would be sad to see him go in January, especially if somebody like Everton or Leicester come in and bid some cheap money for him. Don't want to see him go there. Want to see him go to a top team. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? To get money for somebody who's not going to sign a contract, then have another Shay Adams or Stuart Armstrong situation like we done the previous summer and lose players for nothing. So it'll be a tough decision. But if they'd done that, then it wouldn't be the worst thing from a business standpoint.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they do. Yuki Siguraro's got some way to go. Tough first year in England for him, coming and playing right back in a side that's just disorganised and just not ready for the Premier League at all. I think he will be good though. I know he gets a little bit of grief at times, as Yuki Siguraro. But yeah, I think he's a top guy. I've got a West Brom fan in actually. I can't wait to play you lot again after the playoff game. That's what he's saying about our fans. Interesting comments. The fans weren't great, I will agree. We're looking forward to playing you also. I enjoyed my trip to your ground actually. But yeah, they were idiots in front of your fans, and you're right to have your say on it, isn't he, Boise? Because what happened at the end of that playoff semi-final at home was not great, was it, at all, really? There was no need for it. There was no rivalry between the two clubs. So West Brom News, he's paid to have that message read out. I can't read it out. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Still holding a grudge when we sold Jay Rodriguez to them back in 2017 or whatever. Jay Rodriguez derby. There you go. But yeah, it was silly. It was silly, wasn't it?
It was silly. It'd be interesting to see how we fare against them next year. We beat them every game, didn't we, last time? I don't think we lost again against them. But yeah, there's all of a sudden our fans have rallied them up, and it's just not every fan was it. It was just a small minority, unfortunately. Right. Looking ahead to the game against Newcastle, they got pretty heavily beaten, didn't they, at the weekend against Bournemouth. They were 9 games. They won their previous 9 games in all competitions. They're in really good form, weren't they? They were doing really, really well. Looked like they were absolutely flying. Isaac was on fire. Gordon looks great. Livramento's in the side. He's playing really well. They were just like the result at Arsenal was brilliant. I watched periods of that game. I was like, Isaac just caused them so many problems. Are you worried about a backlash the weekend against Newcastle?
Yeah, I think so. I think again, unfortunately this always seems to happen when we play these teams, that they need to bounce back from their loss against Bournemouth. As you say, 9 wins in a row in all competitions. But then for that to then end at home nonetheless is just going to piss them fans off and also get on the players' nerves as well. So unfortunately, we're probably going to feel the full brunt of the Newcastle rage. And a player like Alexander Isak, I mean, you said it against Arsenal. That's the man Arsenal should be signing, in my opinion, right there.
Yeah,
I think
he's brilliant.
Brilliant. Both of the fullbacks, Hall and Livramento, are brilliant. I mentioned the midfield earlier on, Joe Linton, Bruno G. Like, they've got players all over the pitch that can just change the game and just hold a lead, and even the goalkeeper, they've got solid options in goal, not even just with Nick Pope. So unfortunately, I think it'll be a tough one. But again, I've been saying this for weeks now. Just go out and fight. Don't capitulate. You're at home, for goodness sake. Just go out and try and give the fans something to get behind.
Yeah, good luck to you for the rest of the season as well. West Brom News. Tonali looks good for Newcastle. When I've watched him play, he served the long band, and he's come back, and he took him a little while back to get back to speed. But whenever I've watched Newcastle, he's really impressed me. The one thing I'm going to try and do Adam, and I'm sure a lot of other fans will do. I know it's easy to walk out early doors if we're 2-0 down, 3-0 down, but we have the opportunity of watching some amazing players. And I sit there to the end. All the 3-5-0 defeats, I've been in the stadium at the end because I want to watch. Look, I've paid my money. I'm going to enjoy. There's some great talent on show. I'm looking forward to watching some of the Newcastle talent the weekend. They'll probably beat us, but hopefully we put up a fight, and we never know. You just never know in football. If you treat every game as a bit of a cup final, you never know what you can get out of them. You just got to give 110%. We haven't seen that, boys, have we? We haven't seen 110% from everybody at times. And to succeed when you're a team that don't maybe have the talent or the players, you have to give it 110, don't you?
You need character, first and foremost. And that's one thing that last season especially was really brought back to this club. It was a sense of character. It was a sense of players that were genuinely fighting for the shirt. All right, you have players that were better quality than some. That's to be expected. But, fight and character and passion was instilled back into this team. And even some of the results at the start of the season, I said this, some of the results under Russell Martin massively flattered the other teams, in my opinion. You look at the 3-0 against United at home. You're even looking probably at the 1-0 against Newcastle to open the season. So there was fight there. But ever since that's happened and, the players are down, the club finds itself in a horrific position. All that fight's gone. All the character's gone. And now you're playing without an identity. And I think kind of the worst live performance I've ever seen play was the Brentford result when I caught you after the game and I was livid because for the players to drop that sort of performance and not even come over and apologise is totally unacceptable in my opinion. And
right.
all we want to see is fight at home in particular. Like, come on, these fans pay the hard-earned money. The least they can do is expect to see their team go out and try,
Yeah, I can accept a team losing, but when they're not trying and they're giving up, I can't accept that.
I agree.
It's been embarrassing enough as it has been this season. It's a tough run of games, isn't it? We got obviously Newcastle this weekend at home. It's followed by a trip to Ipswich. Then we've got FA Cup wedged in, and then it's 2 back-to-back home games against Bournemouth and Brighton. The Premier League is just so unforgiving. I'm not sure where the points come from in the next couple of weeks. I don't know what the viewers are saying, tuning in. Give me your thoughts. How many points do we get out of our next 4 Premier League games? I'll be really intrigued to see what your thoughts are. Boys, do you think we'll come close to beating Derby's record, or do you think we can find the couple of wins that are required to surpass that 11 points?
I hope we can, but honestly, Marta, I genuinely can't see where we're picking points up from. And when people kind of say like, is this the worst Premier League team of all time? And you're thinking, well, maybe not quality wise, because Tyler Dibling, Fernandez, Walker Peters, like there's some individual great quality in this team, but it is the worst team of all time because you watch this team play and it's just there's no cohesion. And what we're not a team. We're a group of some really good individuals, and they're surrounded by players that maybe aren't good enough, don't want to play, etc. So at the moment, mate, we're going down with less points because I genuinely can't see where we're picking up points from, and I really hope I'm wrong. Like, if we're going to go down, please just at least go down on over 11 points. And to say that out loud is ridiculous because we knew we'd struggle this year, but not on this extent. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I never thought we'd struggle to the extent that we have. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Soon this season's over and done with, the better. I cannot wait till May and it's over, and the club can reset.
How long left, bud? You?
Yeah, only 3 months.
Yeah,
only 3 months. West Brom News says in the chat, if you went back to the Championship, do we think we'll struggle? I think it will all come down to what's done in the summer, who oversees it, who's a sporting director, the director of football, so to speak, and who the manager is next season. Well, I'm not convinced it will be Ivan Duric. I've said that today on another podcast I went on. I'm not convinced it will be him. He has an 18-month contract. I think that's been put out in the public domain, Adam, but I probably think there'd be a get out for both parties either way, you would think, at the end of the season, surely.
Yeah, no, I don't see him being there next season. I think, to be honest with you, when we are in the Championship next season, I think they'll go back to possession-based. I think that's the philosophy that Sport Republic love, because they wouldn't have invested so much in Russell when he was in charge. I think Danny Rowe was right there. He was rumoured to kind of replace Russell Martin before Juric came in. He's a young manager, possession-based, got the best out of Shea Charles this season. I think he's, for me, somebody who I wouldn't even be against seeing, definitely bring him in. But will it be even Juric? No way. I think, as you say, there's got to be some sort of breakout clause in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, I just don't see him as a Southampton manager. I don't know why I watch his press conferences, and I know it just feels different. Maybe I'm just used to Martin and used to Ralph, but I just don't see it being for the long term. That's just my personal opinion on it.
Yeah.
We're coming to the back end of the show. It's been brilliant. If anybody's got anything they're watching live and you want to put it in the comments box below, please do. I do check back as well. So if you're watching on catch up, I do go back and read the comments. I have periods of times where you don't always read the comments, but at the moment I am reading comments. I feel a bit more, I just think you can put yourself out there and take loads of abuse, and then sometimes it's like you just need to shut yourself away a little bit, put it out there, walk away. But I am reading the comments, so if you put a comment in the comments box, I will read that out for absolute sure. Got to trouble you for a score prediction, mate, ahead of the game at the weekend. What's your score prediction for this one, Adam?
I will go for a very generous 4-1 defeat at home, unfortunately, where I can see us going 1-0 up for some reason. I can see us going 1-0 up. I don't know who scores for the life of me. Probably end up being Jan Bednarek. Now we've come on here and said he ain't a captain, etc. I don't know. I think maybe if we're lucky, we'll get a goal. But then, Isak will wake up. Newcastle have got all that quality. Eddie Howe likes a win against us. And, unfortunately, I think we'll see maybe another little capitulation in there as well. Like that kind of 10-minute period where just nothing goes for us.
We can't do it. We haven't done it for 90 minutes all season long, have we?
No.
I'm going to go 4-0, actually. I'm going to go 4-0. I don't think we score. Alexander Isak's been in my dream team for a good few weeks now. Well, I think I put him in when I took out Haaland 2 months ago.
Yes,
and for me, I'm going to give him the armband the weekend. I'm going to take it off Salah, and I'm going to give it to Alexander Isak this weekend, just knowing what he'd do against us.
I'm interested to see how many people have played their triple captains against us this season.
Yeah, quite a few.
Or they're waiting for that double game week where someone has us twice, and it's just like you're done, sort of thing.
Yeah. I played the wild card a couple of times against us, just knowing what they are. The only time I didn't expect the defeat against Spurs like we had. I have to be honest, never expected that defeat. The 5-0 that day, I never saw that one coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been. Someone's put a comment in. I'm just gonna grab a couple before we go. Somebody said to me, Jamie. He said, if there is an upside to this Premier League for Southampton, what would it be? Boys, I put that one to you first.
That's my friend who's commented that, by the way. Is there an upside to this season? I mean, Tyler Dibling's broke out. That's cool to see.
Money.
Kit looks all right. Yeah, Kit looks decent, I guess. Listen, there's some positives to take this season. We have given some, we've discovered some great young players in this team. Whether they're here next season, you can only hope. And, we've there's been some, but not many.
Yeah, not many. The money will come in handy. If we hadn't gone back up, we would have got a bit stuck, and we would have been in a have to get up this season. If we were in a lead situation, at least we've come back up, pick the money up, and then you go back down. You can go again with the parachute payments, but you can't keep getting it wrong. You cannot keep getting it wrong, and that all comes from the top. Roy's in. He's been watching the show live. Roy Gregory, thank you for watching the show. We wanted Juric to do well again, but his substitutions are sometimes bewildering. They were against Man United, weren't they? He got them totally wrong against Man United and got them pretty much spot on against Forest. But yeah, interesting. I think he's learning a lot. Roy also went on to talk about the referees and the officiating in the Premier League has not been great. With VAR, it should be better, but it's not. But then I've watched a few Championship games and some of the refereeing at that level is awful as well. So I think it is literally right across the board, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. Going back to the substitutions thing, I don't know how you bring in Smallbone on against Man United, like a guy who's not played hardly at all this season, and you're bringing him on to help see out a game nonetheless. That was very poor. But then, as you say, it was better against Forest, but You know, you say he's learning and stuff, like the guy's 50. You shouldn't you should have already learned this sort of stuff. You know what you're coming into. Just you need to get these absolutely spot on if you want any chance to get something.
Yeah, no, I do. Boys, I've loved your company. Been absolutely magnificent to have you here. It's been a great show. It's been superb. I'll be back on the channel again at the weekend now. Day off tomorrow. I'm working in the bar tomorrow night, so no time to be recording podcasts or doing any live content tomorrow. So next shows will be out on the YouTube channel here on Football Martin on Saturday. Instant reaction video goes out live on live goes out straight after the game on YouTube and TikTok. A longer version here on YouTube. And there'll also be a match day vlog as well, which I love creating. If you've missed the Nottingham Forest match day vlog, go check it out. It's a really good away day. Give you a bit of an insight into Forest away. Going to do Ipswich next week as well, so be a vlog for that as well. Enjoy doing the vlog. So I hope you're enjoying those. Guys, thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you again on the Football Martin channel very, very soon.